Okay, and now we are broadcasting. And let me just see.
Always the few first minutes trying to figure out, are we actually live?
Are we there? Are we not there?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, exactly. All right. It says upcoming on my thing here. Let me see whether or not it's. Yeah, I see it. I see it now. Okay.
Okay. I'm seeing it as well. So.
All right. I'm gonna bring it up on a different computer just so that. Actually, you know what?
Anyhow, we are live. So.
What?
We are live now. So hello, everybody.
We are live. We are live. Okay. All right. Great. All right. So why don't we start with introductions? Why don't we start with Küster?
Hello. Yeah, I'm Jan Küster. I'm working with Meteor since 2015, 2016. I'm working at the University of Bremen, and Meteor is one of the tools my working group use for their research projects. And I'm also contributing to some of the Meteor community packages, as well as to Meteor React Native, and provide many of self-made packages from our working group, among others a OAuth 2 server for your own Meteor authentication server with OAuth.
Really cool. Thank you so much, Jan. And we have two Jans with us, so this is a great day. So this other Jan is also known in the community as Storyteller. Storyteller, why don't you tell us something about yourself?
Yes, so hello everybody. I am known in the community as Storyteller or Storyteller CZ, if somebody stole the Storyteller nickname before me. I am a Meteor long-term Meteor contributor. I am also running the Meteor Impact conferences and doing a lot of contributions in Meteor itself, and then primarily in Meteor community packages, which I'll be covering a lot today as well.
All right, that's great. And as for myself, my name is Alim Gafar. I am a longtime Meteor community member. I don't contribute so much to the open source as these other two gentlemen do. I have been involved in running the Meteor New York community for, I think it's over 11 years now. And Jan Storyteller has also been one of our organizers of that meetup before he returned to Europe. And let's see what else I can say about myself. I was one of the original 4 Meteor ambassadors that MDG had selected. All of these gentlemen here, including myself, are current Meteor Community Ambassadors, which is one of the reasons why we are doing this podcast. And I'm a former vice president at the new Meteor software company. Recently left back in January to do a new startup called High Impact Tech. And if you're interested in that, I'll talk about it sometime in the future. But for now, we are talking about Meteor and current updates to the Meteor open source project. So, with all of that said, let's move on to the first part of the segment. We're going to talk about existing known issues in the latest release 2013. And Jan, why don't you take that away?
Yes, so many of you heard already that 3.0 is coming up, and there are many developments toward 3.0, and one of the big releases is 2.13. And if you want to update to 2.13, then some of you might face this error that there is some incorrect data check having something to do with Zealand. We have this covered in the documentation, so no worries. You can get around this issue by manually installing the Meteor version with the specific release in before, the release 2.12. As you can see on the bottom of this page, it's the same way as if you install Meteor the first time. just with a little modification. And when you have this release installed, then you should be good to go to update to 2.13 without any issues. So
Okay.
if you
No, go ahead. Finish, please.
if there are still any issues left, you can easily ask us on the Slack, in the forums, on the Discord. There are many channels you can reach us or other Meteor developers, ask for help, and we will get it done. So no worries.
All right, terrific. And Jan, the document that we were just looking at, where could they find that?
So this is in the Meteor documentation. There is a new section called known issue under troubleshooting. So yeah, docs.meteor.com.
Thank you so much. And then you had just switched over to the GitHub issues area?
Yes. So that is, if you want to, this was how it was originally reported. And if you want to follow more about the issue and, trying to improve this and maybe fix it in more succinct manner than what you have just right now.
So one of the things I think that we should point out about the GitHub issues is you will find a lot of nuance there about the summarized issues that you see in the Meteor documents. So if you really want to understand, the behind the scenes, the details behind these issues, it's worth going and reading, because you may encounter it or you may not. And this will give you some deeper insight into it. In some cases, you will find that you may encounter a similar issue or something with a similar symptom, but not quite the same way. It may help the community understand better, or may help the development team understand better about this and how to deal with it by also including that and adding your own issue details to that thread. So, do you guys have anything to add to that, or would you modify that in any way?
Yeah, I would say, there is a lot of the times we have also the Meteor forums, so people sometimes cross-post. In general, if it's, specific related to Meteor itself and its technical stuff, and you're pretty much sure it's a bug, then always post on GitHub. If people have if you have questions about how to run something, or if you're encountering something weird, then it might be a good idea to start on the Meteor forums and ask question there. If you actually look, here's like a link to something that was mentioned on the forums, specifically kind of related to that. If you run into this issue, that can also get reflected, but it's important for the development team, if there's any issue, any new stuff related to that technical issue, and it's already created on GitHub, to have everything as much on GitHub, because forums, things can move and get lost quite easily. So having it on the GitHub where it can be tracked properly and everything is much more helpful.
And we just mentioned forums, and that would be forums.meteor.com. That is where a lot of long, deep discussions with regard to Meteor, going back to very, very early issues. You can find the entire history of these discussions there. And it's a wonderful resource. It's a good resource to be part of. And it's one of the 3 places I would say that if you are new to Meteor, you want to sign up for. Forums.meteor.com. You want to look at the documents. You want to go to the Meteor.com projects on GitHub to find, really deep details if you're so inclined. But I think the third place also we want to mention is the community Slack, right? Mm-hmm. And so, that is another place where there is ongoing quick discussions. You can get help. You can find additional resources. You can reach out to other people if you are new to Meteor. So I just wanted to give some of that information to you, but we're going to continue on in a minute now with the additional updates. So unless one of the other team members here wants to make any additions there, I will move on to the next item on our list. Okay. So now.
So Alim, I am going to rope you in since you have history with MongoDB as well. and that is that MongoDB 7 has been released. If you read the discussion on the forums, and it's kind of just a technical side note, we are going to include links to all of this in the description or the first comment. So if you want to go into that, that will be available after the stream. So there has been an announcement from, let me make sure, RG David, that MongoDB 7 has been released. And as we've discussed here, the first issue is that it's not available for the current Meteor 2 series, and that's because it requires the latest node driver, which Meteor doesn't have and won't have until Meteor 3.0 because of the fibers limitations. So again, that will be something in Meteor version 3. And going on the official propaganda website here for what's new in MongoDB is, as is common with usually these big releases, is enhanced performance. And specifically for us to notice here is change streams that will support even wider use cases, which is very good, especially looking forward for Meteor, because right now for reactivity, we are using oplogs in MongoDB, and every time you speak with MongoDB experts, they don't like that we are using oplogs. It also has some other undesired side effects if you're not careful. And change streams are actually supposed to be the future in this, but in the past, as we were looking, towards kind of implementing that, we found that lacking for Meteor purposes. So any new improvements in change streams mean that was one more step closer that we can then implement it in Meteor and get rid of oplog.
Yeah, let me just jump in on two things, because you mentioned a couple of things that some people may not be aware of. So we talked about 2 and 3 and fibers, right? So fibers is Meteor's legacy method of handling asynchronous operations. It existed prior to JavaScript having an official async mechanism. We are now moving the code base over to utilize that official means of doing async, and we have for a while. But there is some special sauce in the fibers implementation that make Meteor very special. So trying to replicate some of that functionality has been a very involved process in terms of doing a migration. So when we get to 3, we'll be able to get away from this legacy method, which really is not employed by anybody else, and especially MongoDB. Meteor is actually built on top of MongoDB as its reactive database. And the way we've used it in the past is we have basically looked at the operations log that MongoDB writes for new changes, and then propagated those new changes through the application to create this reactive behavior. Many years ago, I think it was with 3.6 or 3.5 of MongoDB, they've decided to implement an API called change streams that allows you to hook into those updates, so that you wouldn't do it through the operations log, because that's an internal mechanism for MongoDB to use, and its consistency is not guaranteed, because the engineering team might want to change how it behaves from time to time for the benefit of MongoDB, but that could break downstream applications. So change streams has been their API that they've suggested that if you want to do reactivity, you use that. And because of this history that we talked about with fibers, it's been difficult for us to do that with MeteorJS. Do either of you guys want to add to that, modify it, or augment it? Have I explained this well enough?
Yeah, I think that's good enough, and we'll probably go in the future streams more into the history of Meteor. And I think kind of one thing, especially if you are new to Meteor, like wondering why do we have like these old things and everything. And that's because Meteor is old. It predates a lot of the technologies that people today take for granted. So that's we'll see some of the issues that kind of come up, and could kind of say, it's at that time when a lot of these things were standardized, a lot of the stuff that Meteor was, could say, promoting didn't make it. So that's classical, atmosphere packages versus npm, and of course Fibrous is one of the other ones.
Yeah, terrific.
Okay. Anything else, Alim, that you want to add here for MongoDB?
On MongoDB, no. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be spending some time taking a look at the most recent release of MongoDB. So I don't have anything to add today on this, but very good. Okay, shall we move on?
And I'll just add, we'll be talking more about MongoDB 7 once we have Meteor 3 and update the node drivers and are able to, get MongoDB 7 in our Meteor applications.
Terrific. All right, I'll move on to the next item.
So speaking of, updating Meteor version 3, the biggest thing I would say, or the most important one, which is updating to Node 18, has been finished. And as you can see from this pull request, it has been finally, after many trials and errors, merged into the release 3.0 branch. So that means that the latest Alpha 11 version has had this new Node 18. So finally, we can start testing it with actual Node 18 instead of still having kind of this dual life with removing fibers and still running on Node 14. So this is a huge step forward, and at least for me as a package developer, the biggest thing is that now we are really starting to test our packages against this alpha version of Meteor as well.
I would like to add something here to people that may have joined to the Meteor world very recently or want to investigate if Meteor is technology they could think of to use and wonder why we're only at Node 18 and talking about deprecated Node 14. You have to think about that this, as Alim already pointed out, the migration process of fibers with a project of the size of Meteor is not something you can do within a week, even within a month. I think this whole process is now nearly up to 1 year, and that's not including the prior discussion of all of it. So this is why we are only at Node 18 while Node 20 is already out. But once this step is done, Meteor will be really fast in catching up with the latest Node versions, with the latest releases, as they did already always before. So this was a big, how to say, that was a big thing, big blocker, yeah? But before this whole attempt has been made, Meteor always was on the edge of using the latest Babel, using the latest Node versions, and this is the state that it will get back to very soon.
Yeah.
Yes.
There are some practical things I think that you have touched on there, Jan, which is the reason that it takes a year plus is because we have lots of customers, lots of people that have built applications on Meteor in the 1 series and the early 2 series, that we have to be careful that when we make upgrades, their applications don't break, or we have a migration path for them so that if there are breaking changes, they understand what they need to change in order to successfully keep their applications running when they move to a newer version of Node. So those are non-trivial because we want to make sure that the folks that are running their businesses and their livelihoods on Meteor are not failed by these upgrades that we make. We want to make sure that their experience, even though in some cases the migrations might be a little painful, will not stop them from continuing to use their application successfully. Okay.
Adding to that, since Meteor 2.8, there has been addition of the, I could say, the async methods. So a lot of the stuff that will be completely async in Meteor 3, you can already start kind of migrating towards that. So for example, on collection find one method, you can now do find one async and use the async await syntax to kind of prepare everything for this migration ahead of time. Of course, it won't be everything, and each new version has been adding something in this regard, so it's much more easier than once Meteor 3 is here to switch towards that. There's also a lot more to Meteor 3 itself, but we'll keep that for another day because it's not just upgrading and we're getting rid of fibers. There's a lot of newer things. Speaking of upgrading, I also kind of want to highlight there is, say, automated tool for migrating. Obviously, you should be very careful using this because it's not a simple process, but I've discovered this already discovered this just earlier today. So that's from Min Nguyen. Apologies for butchering the name. And he has created this tool that allows you to migrate the code, but of course you still have to kind of check a lot of things yourself because there's a lot of things that can happen if you suddenly change your function from synchronous to asynchronous. So it has impact to the chain that you have to take care of. But this can at least help you move forward more quicker.
This tool is in a way to help you partially automate the migration. Is that the idea?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, very good. I think, just to interject one last thing here, which is on this topic, which is for me, which is that we should probably have a separate migration episode because it's so deep and it's so impactful that I don't think that it's something that will come through well in just the update. So these episodes that we're doing right now are specific to like weekly updates, but I think we could go deeper into some topics like migration, which I think is going to have a deep impact over time. So that's perhaps something that we could think about doing. If there's interest, please put them in the YouTube comments and let us know, and we'll read those comments and we'll use them to modify and come up with ideas for future content. All right, shall we go on to the next topic?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So Meteor Community Packages. Let me just so we have Meteor Community Packages are set of packages that me and Jan are primarily taking care of, and we are kind of working towards getting upgraded and ready for Meteor 3. And we have a lot of releases this week in that regard. I would like to highlight a few of them, specifically the Bozhao link accounts version 2.7 has been released. That one itself is not a release for the Meteor 3, but what we will notice, and let me actually get that on Atmosphere to show you nicely. So here we have our link accounts. Or actually, is it not here? Oh, apologies. So it's not here. There is, let me quickly spin up my terminal to see if I can pull it up there to show. And while I'm doing this, link accounts is a package.
Can you maximize the window, please? So
yes,
everyone
I
can
will
see the code.
Let me see if I can, yes.
Thank you.
So, and this is also, let's also use this as a teaching moment. There's Meteor Show, and then you put in the name, and it will show you the releases of something. And if I do show all, it will show me including the alpha releases. And in this case, what you'll notice is there is a 2.7.1 alpha one. And this is a special release. Not just does it include, for the upcoming versions, but this alpha one, you have to specifically request that version to be installed. And this version has code in it which will allow you to install it together with the Meteor 3.0 Alpha 11. And this is the approach we'll be using for all the packages under MCP to allow you to install them, and also primarily for us to test them with the latest Meteor 3 release. So look out for that. And I would also encourage all package managers or people who manage packages or build packages to do the same. So, release alphas and eventually betas, and then release candidates to make sure to test it against the upcoming alphas and betas of Meteor 3.0, so that we can, kind of ahead of time prepare our packages and everything else for it. We'll have that as together as we are working on things. Specifically, we are working on a roles package to be ready as soon as possible, and then we'll start working on the other big packages. For some of these small ones, which already have these alpha versions ready, it's fast render and that inject data and picker. And as already mentioned, the link accounts package as well. Also, back to the 2.7 release, it fixes one bug and adds a Discord connector, which I wrote because all the older Discord connectors are out of date given some of the new recent changes. So I went and built a new one. Okay.
Shall we go on?
Yes, there is one more thing. I'm not sure, actually, if you're a bit ahead, Alim. There is the missing, I'm not sure, maybe if you missed that, the Meteor migrations package. Kind of also on the same topic, release 2.0 is in the works.
Migrations
yes, that's
package?
it.
Okay.
That's I would say one of the most popular package for migrations. And as you can see, me and Gabriel have been kind of going back and forward on this. What it does is update everything so it works with our new async await flow, together with some minor adjustments as well, like incorporating here removing underscore. So those are things, and you will probably see that a lot in our coming updates. We'll be highlighting packages that are moving or getting ready for Meteor 3. And with that, we can move to our last topic that we have here, and that's another package that we have under partial MDG maintenance, which is Redis-oplog, and that has been released version 2.2.1, which fixes one very specific reactivity bug, and also updates the aligning roles package to the latest version. So that is all I have at this moment. Not sure if anything else you guys have.
No, other than to say that I think we're going to be looking for ideas for how to make this as useful as possible to the community members, new members, existing members that have been here in the Meteor community. I think we'll take guests from time to time who might have something to say and want to add. I think we're contemplating, for instance, doing some additions to this. So when we're done with the weekly updates, we might go a little deeper into elements of Meteor itself, maybe some of the community packages that are used to enhance your, Meteor development experience, as well as bringing on guests who might want to talk about the projects that they've worked on with Meteor, the things that they found very useful in Meteor, and just to share, what's exciting with what they're building today. So that's what we're thinking about right now. This is very early days, and we want to make this as useful a broadcast as possible for this podcast. So, Jan, Küster, is there something else that you want to add to this?
Yeah, I will cover in the future more on these Meteor and React Native app development topics. Usually Meteor is natively bound with Cordova, and that's the basic integration. But I'm more focused on integrating Meteor with React Native. That's also because the apps we develop use React Native, and we use Meteor as a backend. And there will be some developments in the near future on the Meteor React Native package that I also maintain currently. There will be a roadmap. There will be future developments on that package, and I think it's a good format to report on the recent development of such packages as well in this podcast.
And one other thing I'd like to mention, this comes out of actually a meeting that we've been having for over a year. There is a group called the Meteor Ambassadors, and we used to have a weekly Friday meeting among ourselves to talk about outreach and the things that we are doing internally. I would like this also to be an invitation to those other ambassadors that if they want to participate in this podcast, we would be happy to have them. And in the future, we'll also talk a little bit about the new Meteor Community Ambassador program that we had thought about. And that's about a good 6 months ago. We were talking about this, and I think we might want to think about how we can move forward with it and share that with the rest of the community.
All right. I think that's it. Nice
All right.
and quick.
Is that good? Well, it's good seeing you guys.
Yep, same here.
Yeah.
All right.
Same
And thank you again for agreeing to do this together and getting it underway. So hopefully we'll see some comments in the YouTube comments section, and we look forward to giving you as much value as we can from these episodes. All right. So we are scheduling, I think, the next one for. When should we do this? Do you want to do this at 8:30 Eastern or the same time that we did today, 9:30?
I'm fine with both.
Jan?
Yeah, I think this works well for me. So
Okay. So our future episodes will be in 9:30 Eastern time, and we'll set those broadcasts up ahead of time so that if you go to the Meteor Community channel, which I believe is YouTube at Meteor Community, right? METEOR Community. That is the URL to it. You'll be able to see and then see the scheduled podcast and subscribe to it. Okay, and if you're new to the channel, please subscribe to it. It'll help us understand who's actually following and give us a chance to really get a chance to interact.
I'll just correct you. It's at MeteorJS Community. Okay.
Thank you for correcting that. At MeteorJS Community. All right. Terrific, guys. Okay. So I guess when we end this broadcast, the recording should be posted to YouTube very shortly.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
That sounds about right. Okay.
See you guys.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.